Hey everyone, today we're going to solve an equation using completing the square to get exact values for x, okay? So if we did try to factor it, if we did subtract 1 from both sides, we would get 3x squared plus 4x minus 1 is equal to 0. And there's simply no factoring this equation to solve by factoring. And so other than throwing it into the quadratic formula, which we can do, we're going to use completing the square just for the practice of it. And so to complete the square, we're going to factor out the a value from these first two terms. I'll leave the 1 over on the right side because we're going to have to move it over to the right side at some point. So let's factor out the a value from both terms. So we'll have 3 bracket x squared plus, when we factor to 3, we divide both terms by 3, really. So this becomes 4 over 3x, and we have equal to 1, okay? Now we'll actually go through the completing the square process. And so we'll do 3 times x plus, we'll take half of that x coefficient. So half of 4/3 is, of course, 2/3. And then we square that binomial, x plus 2/3 all squared. We still have equal to 1 on the other side, but we have to balance out this process of completing the square. Now, if we take the time to expand x plus 2/3 all square with the 3 that we know is hanging around out front, this becomes 3 times x squared plus 4 over 3x, just as we had before. But there's also the plus 2/3 squared, meaning 4/9 part of it as well. So this we can write as 3 bracket x squared plus 4/3 x. I do that because that's exactly what we had originally. But we also have plus 3 times 4 over 9. 3 times 4 over 9, once we simplify through, is 4/3, because the 3 over the 9 simplifies down to 1 over 3. And so that means we have to balance that out by subtracting 4/3, okay? Now we're going to want to isolate the x in the end. And so let's move this to the other side, add 4/3, add 4/3. I'll remind you to get a common denominator, that 1 whole is the same as 3/3, of course. And so we get 3 times x plus 2/3 all squared would be equal to 3/3 plus 4/3, meaning 7/3. Okay. Now we have to divide both sides by 3 to get rid of this 3 hanging out front. And so divide by 3, divide by 3. So x plus 2/3 all squared is equal to 7/3 divided by 3 becomes 7/9. Now we want to get rid of the square, and so of course we square root both sides. The square root cancels out the square, and we take the square root of both sides, make sure it extends over the 7 over 9, and now we have x plus 2/3 is equal to positive or negative. Let's not forget our positive or negative. Square root of 7 over 9, that's equal to, I'll make a note here, square root of 7 over 9 is the square root of 7 over the square root of 9. The square root of 7 can't be simplified, but the square root of 9 is, of course, 3. And so that's how we should write it in simplified form. So I'll have plus or minus root 7 over 3. And now you'll notice that we have a nice common denominator. And so let's isolate the x completely. Let's subtract 2/3 from both sides. And so we end up with, I'll write that over here, x is equal to negative 2/3 plus or minus root 7 over 3. And let's make it as easy as possible to punch into a calculator. We have our common denominator, and so let's write this over 1 common denominator. X is negative 2. Negative 2 plus or minus root 7 all over 3. And we can leave our solutions like so, because we wanted exact values, not a decimal approximation. Hope that helps. Let me know if you guys have any other problems in solving quadratic equations for a video, and thanks for watching.